welcome to the Creatives Tarot, the YouTube channel that helps you supercharge your creativity and pursue your passions. My name is Melissa, and I am so excited that you are here today for this wonderful tarot reading. We're going to do a tarot reading based on your elemental sign, earth, air, fire, and water. And we are going to look at the month of May. What is in store for May 2021? This is the whole month. We also just had a super full moon. So we're going to be drawing on one of our moon oracle decks to just understand what is in store for the next 30 days. I am hyped. It has been a minute since I've done a full length tarot review for you all, and I'm really excited to dig in. We got a lot of cards to look at, and we're going to talk about a lot of different things. So let's see what comes up when I shuffle these cards. Stay tuned. Also, the descriptions and the timestamps are going to be down below in the comments, so you can click to the reading that you want to hear. Okay, let's get started. This is for our fire signs. I had to double check. Who did I draw these cards for? These are our fire signs. So this is Aries, this is Sagittarius, this is Leo. This is your reading. I'm going to put an image up on the screen so that you can see where the cards landed. I've already flipped them over. I haven't looked at them at all. So we're going to start interpreting them together, but you can see them now on the screen. I told you these readings were going to be thick. We had a lot of cards because we got 30 days, 30 plus days. So I really want you to be energized and excited and prepared for what's coming in May. So how did I do this? We did 3 main theme cards with our tarot cards. So let's talk about your themes. The first one is upbringing. So that's the one up at the top in the corner. The first one is upbringing. And it says, what limiting beliefs or values were taught to you that still affect you today? What unresolved trauma or negativity have you experienced during your upbringing that still holds power over you, right? This is going to be a big thing for you in the month of May. And this is interesting because the cards that you got with this are the 4 of Pentacles. So I have a sense that there's some negative understanding, negative relationship with money, with scarcity. So for some of you fire signs, you grew up without money. You grow up with a family that lives paycheck to paycheck, a family that has relied upon welfare or social services, a family that has had ups and downs with money. Even if you maybe did have money, maybe your family was, your parents were self-employed or they own their own business and they had to file for bankruptcy and you had to relocate. I just get the sense that money and a scarcity of money, or even a fear or phobia of losing money, is something that you're going to have to work through this month, and it's tied to your upbringing. So that's one thing. Look for limiting beliefs this month around your upbringing and finances and money, and also the need to hoard things, right? The fear of running out of things. So hoarding resources, hoarding materials, holding on to money and not paying for the things that you owe, even when you have money available. The other thing was the 7 of Wands, right? So I think about this as communication. So what bad habits or limiting beliefs do you have about technology, about communication, about messages? This tells me you need to sort of take some time away to shield yourself from all of the peanut gallery, as my mother likes to call it. Like, what's the peanut gallery saying? Like, there's a sense of what impression are you leaving on the world, and when do you shut yourself off from the critics and the haters and the trolls? So I feel like that is going to be something that you're carrying through this week or in the next month. And look at this. That first one was upbringing. The second one's limiting beliefs, and that talked about limiting beliefs before. The second theme for you is limiting beliefs. So there's definitely some carryover here. The card says, what are the negative assumptions or perceptions that limit you and stop you from being the best version of yourself? What have you been conditioned to believe? So here's some more beliefs that you're carrying around that you're going to have to confront this month. And I think, if you do that, it's going to open up a lot of doors and potential for you. The Knight of Cups is all about romance, all about relationships, all about seduction. So you may have a rocky track record with relationships. You may even believe that, have this idealized sense of relationships, and you want to be wooed, and you believe it's up and down. Maybe you love romance novels. I feel like there is a belief system here about the kind of knight in shining armor that comes into your life and whisks you off your feet and is the perfect guy, and nobody can live up to that standards, or you're just constantly falling in love with the wrong person, right? Because you're looking for somebody to sweep you off their feet, somebody who's a really charmer. This person is not serious. They're never serious. They're a fun time, but they're not the like lifelong partner. And it's just because they're immature and they're exploring and they're learning and they're growing and they're testing their boundaries and they're sowing their oats. And so that may be a limiting belief that you have, whether you're that person and you're running away from an opportunity to settle down, or whether you are looking for that person, you're trying to make this person someone they're not in their lives. Think about your relationships that you see, your parents' relationship, other aunts and uncles, grandparents. What kinds of siblings, what kinds of role models were there for you? And what kinds of maybe negative things have you picked up, or beliefs have you picked up that are not really healthy relationships? This can also lead to abusive relationships and domestic violence. So I want to throw that out there. I know that's heavy, but a lot of toxic people start with like I can't remember what the name of it is, but there's basically like over romanticizing and hyping up somebody so that they feel super loved and seen, and then they start taking that love away, and it's a manipulation tactic. So just be aware of that and the belief. And if you're falling into the same bad relationships over and over, that may be a limiting belief and a pattern that you've learned, that you're not supposed to expect anything more than just that. The other thing you have is the Emperor, and the Emperor in reverse. So I feel like you've been taught you've grown up in a very rigid structure or system, or you've grown up lacking that. So ask yourself, how do I think about discipline? How do I think about laws and order and rules? Am I too rigid? Am I too structured? Do I not have enough structure because I'm rebelling from the way in which I grew up? And so now I don't want to have any rules, and I just want to do everything the way that I want to do it. There's something here about authority figures, about rule setting, about discipline and consistency, and doing the adulting that like you're either pushing away from, or you're moving too far into, that I would question this month. And I think this is going to feel a little bit heavy for you. Like these are deep things that you're going to be dealing with in the next 30 days, but we're going to get through it. Okay. The last theme that you guys had is expression. So here's the card so you can see it. All right. So expression, creative self-expression. Hello, my creative tarot family. Creative self-expression, the way you choose to convey, consciously or unconsciously, an idea, an opinion, or an emotion. So you're going to be creative this month. I can already feel it. And this is going to be something that you're reflecting on and thinking about. What's the right medium to tell my story? You've also got the Empress in reverse. Empress, when I think about creativity, when I think about writing, I think about birthing a new project. We also often talk about book babies when we have a book that's ready to be published and going out into the world, because we feel like we've birthed this. We took this idea, we nurtured it, we developed it, we fed it energy and life, and it's been hanging with us for many, many months, if not years. And so when it's finally released, we feel like we're sharing that baby out into the world. And so with this Empress, I feel like you're cooking something up right now, and maybe you're not in the you're in the dream state, you're in the conceptual state. I say that because you also have the Seven of Cups, and the Seven of Cups represents opportunities, desires, choices. So I feel like you're going to be brainstorming something, and you're going to be working to transition into this space. I don't think this is you avoiding or rejecting a new project or idea. What I think is happening right now is that this energy is sort of towards the end of the month. It's not fully realized. And you have to remember, this is a major arcana card. So that energy is really heavy, and it can drive the entire shape of a month or a cycle or a phase, right? It can consume everything. But when it's in reverse, sometimes it just means that it's not fully realized yet. It's not fully manifested. And I think that comes with you making a choice on which project you want to work on first. But know that you have that energy of the the Empress here. So you had the Emperor and the Empress both feeding you energy, but this is tied to creative expression. Let's look at some of the oracle messages that we got as well. Okay, so here's a question for you this month. What do you really want? Right? Ask yourself that. What do you really want? When you're getting lost, when you're getting overwhelmed, when you're thinking about which idea to develop, which project to take on, which new challenge or task, who to reach out to, what to say yes to, go back to what you really want. The X marks the spot, right? So be grounded in that. Oh my goodness. Be grounded in that knowledge. Stop, drop, and ground, right? So at some point, you're going to need to take some time out to really reflect on what it is you're trying to accomplish. Know your long-term goal, know your vision, right? And make choices and steps that are going to get you towards that vision. All right, more messages. Okay, yeah, fog of war. Fog of war. You're in the fog of war this month. And what this tells me is that, well, it says unfamiliar terrain, unknown factors, unexplored areas. So we already know that you're going to have new projects, right? But we also know it's going to be a little bit murky. And that's why you need to ground yourself. That's why you need to know what you really want, because there's going to be a lot of stuff that you don't know, a lot of new things with this project. You're stretching yourself, you're pushing your boundaries. So you want to take chances, but just know this is the stage, this is the phase that you're in, and there are going to be a lot of unknowns. And because there are a lot of unknowns, you need to save your game, friend. You need to save your game. What does that mean? Pause, reflect. Hello, talking about grounding. Prepare, time to recalibrate. Preparation and backup. When you're learning something new, when you're developing a new skill, when you're birthing a new project and exploring, don't just rush into the execution phase. Really give yourself time and space to sit on an idea, to explore different paths that you may not use. Go down those rabbit holes, right? And then if it doesn't work, just backtrack and try it again, right? Be excited, but give yourself time and space to pause, to save, to capture those ideas down on paper so that you don't lose all of that progress. It is all progress. And then lastly, we have the talisman. Sorry, it's a little blurry. Talisman. So how can you increase synchronicity and tune into divine timing? How can you maximize the opportunities and attract momentum? How can you create your own luck? So that's what the talisman says. I love this card because this is going to be, I think, just an anchor for you as well when you're grounding yourself. What questions do you ask? Not just what do you want, but how can you tune into the synchronicity of the universe to help you get that? Okay, other affirmations that we've got here. Let's go to the moon because we just had a full moon. So we've got, it's time to take action and your hard work is paying off. So friend, all of the creative energy that you're putting into this project and other projects that may be wrapping up, it's paying off. People are noticing and you're developing your skill, you're developing your craft, you're becoming even more professional with every single word you write, with every single project you take on, with every single path you explore. Nothing is ever wasted, but it's time to take action. Note, this is a new moon in Aries. So fire signs, Aries sign, this came up for you. So yeah, just be focused, move forward. Don't sit on something. Don't stay in this place for too long. Decide what you really want, take on that project and move forward. And then the last few messages we have are, remember that the universe works fast. It does work fast when you're having fun, right? So there's a message for you to keep in mind this month. And then also, I choose love no matter what. Right? And I want to say, redefine your definition of success. Pull back from this idea that if this project doesn't get sold, if it doesn't get made into a movie, if it doesn't turn me into a bestseller or a cajillionaire, right? If it doesn't do all these things, it's been a failure, right? If I get one bad review, it's a failure. No, this project is a success because you went down the path and you created it. And no matter what people say about it, go back to that limiting belief of all of the noise coming in. No matter what people are saying, you can choose love. Love yourself, love your work, write to please yourself, and stop trying to listen to the trends and the naysayers. All right, that was your creative message, fire signs. That's Aries, a Leo, and Sagittarius. Hope this resonated with you. If it did, give me a like, and don't forget to hit subscribe and share this with other people who you think can benefit from one of these creative tarot readings. I have so much in store and I don't want you to miss out, so make sure you're subscribed to the newsletter as well. Take care, and I'm moving on to the next group. Hey, water signs, this is your reading. Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio. I've got your cards. I'm going to pull the cards up on the screen right now so you can see all of the cards that came out as they came out. And now I'm going to flip them over so that you can see exactly what I see. I haven't started interpreting them yet, but I want you to see the whole spread, and let's dig in. Let's see what actually came out. So you have 3 themes. We looked at 3 themes for the month of May that are going to be coming up for you, things that are going to be helpful for you to focus on and channel your energy around so that you can make the most of all of the energy that the universe has. So the first theme is sabotage, my friend. Sabotage. So let's read the card together. In what ways have you been sabotaging yourself and stopping yourself from achieving success and greatness? So you got some shadow work to do this month, and this is not surprising at all. We've got the Five of Wands, which is all about competition. So you're either in competition with yourself this month, or you're feeling extra competition against other people. And I'm going to talk about this more in depth in a second, but we also had the Four of Pentacles come up. This Four of Pentacles was also in my last reading. So if you had a fire sign in your birth chart as well, this is doubly work for you this month of May. Make sure that you're dealing with this and you're not sabotaging yourself with these like scarcity mindsets and this fear of losing out, this fear of investing in yourself, this fear of never having enough money, enough resources. Are you saying no to an opportunity because you're afraid of the cost? Are you saying no to an opportunity because you're afraid of success? Are you saying no to an opportunity because to help someone else because you're like, well, I barely have enough to get by. How can I possibly be of service to someone else? This is hoarding resources. It's hoarding money. It's hoarding information because you're so afraid that you're not going to be able to provide for yourself. This is the kind of energy that also comes up when it's like, oh, well, I'm saving because I'm saving for a house. I'm saving for a family. I'm saving for this. I'm saving for that. That's important, but just make sure you have balance here. And because this came up with the sabotage theme, I'm thinking that you're going to the extreme with this and you're taking this trait, which could be really helpful for you, especially in a creative career where your income is not steady, right? But you're leaning too heavily on this. For some of you right now, I just got this feeling that like you want to be writing and creating or doing some artistic endeavor full time, and you want to quit the everyday job, but you're afraid. And this is what you're doing. You're hoarding on to all of that money, all of the resources that you're getting with that steady paycheck. And you're afraid to take a chance. You're afraid to take a risk. But this is telling me that you might be sabotaging yourself. So dig a little bit deeper on that. And then, yeah, the Five of Wands, this competition right here. I will say, I know a lot of screenwriters are in the middle of staffing season. They're in the middle of fellowship season. There's a ton of competitions, contests out there that are all due around the same time. And so for you, especially in May, just make sure you're not overdoing it. You're not sabotaging yourself by, burning the candle on both ends, by obsessing over what everyone else is doing, by believing that this idea that only one person can be successful, that there could only be one victor. This is not the Olympics, right? You don't need a gold medal to be successful. And you know what? You don't even need to final or to semifinal. Like, you can still make a movie. A lot of crappy things get done without any of those accolades, right? So just know that. Same thing with books. Like, watch out. Like, don't treat other writers as your competition. Don't treat other artists as your competition. Think of them as teachers, as mentors, as collaborators, as people who can give you expert advice. You are sabotaging yourself if you're only thinking about other writers as people you have to beat, as people you have to surpass, as people who are taking your spot at the table. If they're wise, there is no spot at the table. What they're doing is they're stepping inside and they're kicking down the door and they're dragging up another chair and they're pulling you up with them. But you have to stop thinking of them as competition first in order to get to that place. Now let's talk about your second theme in May, self-love, right? So we've got some light work to do as well. A lot of reflective energy here. Self-love says, what can you do to accept yourself, acknowledge yourself, appreciate yourself, validate yourself, cultivate happiness within yourself, and grow into the best version of yourself? How do you extend love to your being? I love this, especially growing into the best version of yourself. And here, these are powerful cards here. You've got the Queen of Cups, the ultimate empath. And so I think this month, you just need to borrow and draw from her energy. It's such a blessing to act with compassion and grace and sympathy and understanding, right? To meet people where they are, but to also meet yourself where you are, and look for people who can help you do this. If you're really stuck, look for really empathetic people around you who can nurture you. Look at life coaches, look at therapists, look at counselors, look at support groups, look at your creative writing group, right? But look at people who are going to check you on some of your assumptions, your best friend, your partner, who may say like, you're being too hard on yourself. If you can't find a way to navigate this on your own, turn to those people and say, hey, if you see me doing this thing that's toxic or negative, can you help me acknowledge that, right? Can you just say, hey, this is what's happening. Pull me aside and tell me that so that I can work on it, because you need to practice that self-love. Ace of Swords in reverse. You're in your head, right? The reason you can't practice self-love is because you're in your head too much. You're intellectualizing it too much. You're, and maybe there's a roadblock there. Maybe there's some obstacle there or some limiting belief there that's keeping you from feeling like you deserve love, that you deserve that praise, that you've done anything significant or great. Don't let those kinds of emotions sabotage you. And as you're working through that sabotage stuff, practice that compassion, because working through shadow work is hard work. It's hard work. Okay. And then your last theme, which is right on topic, is self-care. So not just learning to love yourself, but learning how to care for yourself. And this says, what can you do to nurture mind, body, and spirit, your mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual well-being? So don't just think about it. Don't just reflect upon it, but write out in a list. What are 2 things that I can do to help my mind? What are 2 things that I can do to help show care and appreciation to my body? What are things that I can do to reward my spirit? Is it meditation? Is it taking a long bath? Is it getting my nails done? Is it going for a jog or a walk or hiking? Is it doing a crossword puzzle? Reading an article? Any of these things. And here's what I think. You've got the 7 of Wands. So for me, with that self-care, I'm getting the sense that you need a retreat. You need a bubble, you need a detox, step away from social media for a little while, even if it's only 24 hours or a weekend. Take a tech-free weekend and go back to doing something like physical and tangible. Draw, paint, dance, do a creative task that doesn't require you to be on technology, that doesn't require you to sit at a laptop or desk, that doesn't require you to be on social media. Create that bubble for yourself and practice a new art form. And that's going to be a great therapeutic self-care for you. You've also got the High Priestess, which tells me that part of your self-care, especially your spiritual self-care, is going to be listening to your intuition and trusting your intuition. Every single time you make a choice, you're strengthening your intuition, and make those choices without regret, without a ton of debate. Just learn to close your eyes, learn to take a deep breath and say, how am I feeling? How am I showing up? And listen to that voice. Every single time you do that, that is also an act of self-care. care. And it's going to feel scary at first if you're not used to doing it. And it takes a little bit of courage. But the more you practice it, the stronger you become at it. And the more confident you become in your choices, in your actions, in your directions. So borrow that energy from the High Priestess. This is was not in reverse. She's here, she's bold, she's beautiful, she's a major arcana card that is going to be guiding you this month. She's the only one that came up in your reading. So really draw on that intuition, on those psychic abilities. If you have tarot cards, do some readings daily or weekly. Just draw a card, a couple of cards to help ground you and give you additional guidance. If you don't own a deck, maybe it's time to get one, right? They're not that bad. They're not that expensive. So there's something for you to do. Let's keep going. Okay, so we've got some more messages from Oracle. Your past supports your future, right? So everything we do, there's no accidents. There's no mistakes. Even things that you might think you regret, they taught you something. They have a lesson. Your past is building your future. It's giving you the knowledge, the strength, the resilience, the empathy and compassion, the stories. It's giving you a perspective to tell. So your past is supporting your future. Also, shift the way to new potential. So this tells me that there's going to be a perspective shift or a mind shift, something that you need to change about the way you see an opportunity. It may be this competition thing that I was talking about, that you need to shift your mindset there so that you can break free from that self-sabotage, but shift your way to new potential. The more that you think about repositioning your approach, the more opportunities are going to envelop. And something that felt like an obstacle, that felt like a hassle, that felt like a distraction, that felt like a punishment may actually suddenly become an opportunity to do something really great. Someone told me that a no is just a way of redirecting you to the yes. So when you get that rejection, just know that that door, that path was not the right path for you. And that's just guiding you to the place that you were meant to be, that the universe wants you to be. More from the oracles. Let's see. We've got two cards here. So we've got poisoned. Poisoned came up. I'll read that to you. So how are you being affected by toxic behaviors and limiting beliefs? How are you being drained by a negative situation? What is a toxic belief about yourself or the world that is draining your energy? And I'm going to keep going back to this sabotage, right? So I think this is all connected here, because it's sabotaging you, it's poisoning you, they're toxic beliefs, they're not helpful for you, they're not going to get you to where you need to be. So you need to articulate those. And anytime you start to feel your body tense, think about your intuition. When you start to feel anger, anxiety, frustration, depression, that's the sabotage piece, right? That's the poisoning, that's the toxic stuff. So look at what's triggering that. It's not bad to have those feelings, but you do want to understand where they're coming from, what triggered that. And then once you figure that out, you can start to remove some of those things or develop better habits, coping mechanisms to move through that. Speaking of coping mechanisms, you also have the power buff. So the power buff says, what gives you the strength and confidence? What makes you feel unstoppable? How can you slay and dominate? How can you win the game, right? So this to me is about knowing your strengths, knowing what opportunities you have that you can leverage. Like what's in your toolkit? What's in your toolbox? What coping mechanisms do you have to get over tough times? What makes you resilient? It's not that people just get up when they fall down or they feel crushed or defeated. That's not what makes them successful. It's that they know how to quickly go to those places and say, you know what, this is rejection. I've been here before. I understand how to take feedback and criticism and apply it quickly and move forward, right? Or I know how to let that go and go to the next ask, go to the next customer, go to the next project. Those are the people who are successful, and it's because they understand their strengths and they built up a toolkit of these power buffs. They built up their toolbox and they know how to draw on those things. So that is going to be important for you in May. Figure out what those things are and be ready for them when something happens. Let's move on to the Moon Oracle. We just had a full moon, so let's see what moon energies around this month. conclusions are within reach. So this tells me that you're nearing the end of a goal, right? That conclusions are coming. You're going to get a decision one way or the other. And whether you like that decision or not is kind of irrelevant, right? It may be a bad, I don't want to use the word bad, but it may be the undesired outcome because you've got this adjustments required. And I just see, we had this shift one here, right? We talked about competition and maybe even jealousy or lack of limited resources coming up a lot. The need to practice empathy and self-love and to pull yourself away with this 7 of Wands. So I have a feeling that like there may be some disappointing news coming for you this month, and you may need to make some adjustments on how you define success, on how you see that experience and that opportunity, and reminding yourself that your past, moving forward on that project, even if it got denied, even if you didn't get the dream that you wanted, even if it didn't go as planned, it's still a success, right? You need to shift your perspective on that. So I feel like this energy is supporting that. It's just telling you like it's coming, there's a decision coming, and it may or may not be the decision that you wanted. But that's not the important thing. The outcome just kind of doesn't feel as significant as you maybe have made it out to be thus far. Last messages from the universe. My outer experiences are a reflection of my internal condition. So this is why you need that self-love and self-care, my friend, right? Because your internal is so critical. You need that high priestess. You need that intuition. Your experiences are a reflection of your internal condition, right? And people can see that. So if you're bitter inside and you're feeling angry or jealous, like it manifests and people can see it. So just don't live in that space, friend. When I accept the love of the universe as my primary teacher, I will always be guided back to the light, right? So there's the last message for you. When I accept the love of the universe as my teacher, I will always be guided back to the light. And that's what I want you to do. I do want you to be guided towards the light, not just because it's helpful to be optimistic or super positive about everything and to ignore those very real emotions of grief or sadness or frustration. That's not what I'm saying. When I talk about the light, I talk about having hope, right? Having hope in humanity, having hope in yourself, having a dream for the future, and not getting stuck in the darkness, because so many people camp out in the darkness, and it's okay to feel those emotions. It's normal to feel those emotions. It's healthy to experience those emotions, but you can't live there. Don't live there, friend. And as you learn to love the situation, as you learn to see it through new eyes, you'll be guided back to that light place, which is going to give you energy and creativity. I actually think it's really difficult to create in grief and pain and tragedy and suffering. I think some of the most awesome stuff comes when we're energized and fueled by passion. So there you go. That is your reading for all of my water signs. I hope you found this helpful. I know this is heavy. I know it can be difficult to navigate, but just think you have all the tools and all the resources that you need to get through it. You just need to give yourself space and time to reflect on it and to change your perspective, figure out how am I looking at something and is it the correct way or the right way or the most appropriate way. Okay, I'm gonna get out of here. If this resonated with you, be sure to give me a like and don't forget to hit subscribe so that you don't miss out on future content. We got a lot of great stuff coming up here and I'm really excited to share that with you. I will talk to you later, and if you were confused or you want more details, look at your birth chart and go to one of the other elements and hear that reading as well. Okay, bye. Hello, my wonderful group 3, my Taurus, my Virgo, my Capricorn, my Earth signs. How are you? I am very, very excited to get into this reading. I just pulled up your cards right there. These are the cards as they laid out. We have 3 themes that we're going to be talking through with the tarot cards, and we have a ton of messages from the oracles. And here are the cards turned over, so you can see exactly what cards came out where. And we're going to talk through them. I know it's a lot. This deck is thick. Don't be intimidated. Let's go. Grab a pen and paper, get some water, some tea, and let's learn. Let's prepare. Let's get ready for the month of May 2021. Okay, first theme. Our first theme, sorry, I'm just gonna. Okay, so our first theme is accept. This is the first theme of the month for you, which is accept. So let's read through that together. To acknowledge, to recognize, to register as true, to validate, to affirm, and to own. Okay, so what do you need to accept this month? Okay, this is beautiful. For some of you, we've got some relationship issues happening, right? You got the Lover's card. The Lover's card doesn't always mean that you're falling in love or that you're meeting your soulmate or that you're breaking up. A lot of people associate it with romantic love and happy romantic love. And sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's very painful romantic love and tragic romantic love, because it's a story about 2 people who cannot be together. It's 2 people who are drawn together constantly, but always torn apart. It's that Romeo and Juliet type of love. And that can be really dangerous and can be really toxic, and it can be really draining. So it's not always the greatest sign, but when I think about art, when I think about creativity and lovers, I think about our passion, what fuels us, right? I also think about choices, right? What choices are we making? And I think about the work that goes into maintaining a relationship with someone. And so what do you need to accept? I feel like there's a truth here around a relationship, around either how you see yourself. If you're looking for a romantic partner, there's something you need to accept here with the Lovers. But if you're not, if you're already in a happy relationship, or you're single and you're loving it, and that's cool too. This could be a creative project, particularly a project that you maybe have a karmic cycle with, a love-hate relationship with, where you're excited one minute and then you're stuck and you put it away, and then you come back to it and you put it away, you come back to it. And it's kind of like, are you going to commit? This is in reverse too. So I feel like it's blocked. I just feel like something's not sitting right. That you are meant to do something or to be with someone and you're denying it. Or that being with someone is toxic and you're denying it. We'll see what else comes up. You do have the Fool too that came with this. And the Fool speaks to new beginnings, right? It speaks to youthfulness, but also to new beginnings, to fresh starts, to naiveness. So going down a path or a journey that you've never been on before. And what I love about this card in particular is like the Fool is often leaning back over a cliff, unaware that she's about to fall into the universe, right? And there's no parachute. She's trusting the world to protect her and to save her and to, keep her safe. With this Lover's card, I get the sense that like some of you, this may be about having the courage to take that leap of faith. It could be that leap of faith on the relationship, but it could also be that leap of faith that, hey, this isn't actually working out for you. It's not actually healthy. And you could love someone, but not be the right partner with them. You can love a project, but not make it your opus, the one thing that you're obsessed over and over and over again, right? You can pull away from that. You can let go of that. You can move forward with that. And start a new adventure or journey. So yeah, that's what I'm seeing here. The second theme, the second theme we have is navigate. So there's that theme. Let's talk through that. To figure out a way through, to plan or direct a course of something, to journey carefully and with intention, right? And we're talking about this Fool, which is the start of the journey. And of course, the top card comes up. Wow, this is so powerful, you guys. 8 of Cups. 8 of Cups is about letting go. Look what she's doing. She's walking away, right? She's ceremoniously walking away. She set that bowl on fire. She said, these are the things I'm leaving behind. And she did it with intention and purpose and respect. But she's walking into the horizon, into the sunlight. She has hope for something brighter. She's letting go of the things that no longer serve her. And it's beautiful. But that makes me think like you have to accept the truth, and then you have to take the chance and walk away from something that's not serving you. And look at this, the world, right? The world, 21, the world, the last card in the major arcana. And, this is about completion. This is about a journey completed. So like she's walking away, and in that walking away, maybe she's completing one cycle and so that she can start another. I get this sense that these 4 cards are deeply entwined. And then you've got opinion. Your third theme that came up was opinion. And it says, a view that is formed based on what you know, how you think, and how you feel. A perspective or judgment informed by your personal experiences, your upbringings, and your worldview. So that's what opinion says. Now, you all, like, these cards are not playing around. They're not playing around, because look what came up. Judgment, right? For your opinion, judgment, which means you have judgment of yourself over the situation. You're afraid of how other people are going to judge you for the situation, for the choices that you've made, and you're letting them cloud your judgment. You're letting them get into your head. You're letting them distract you to shape how you see and view the world and the choices that you're making. And those choices may not be the right ones, or I should say, not that they're the right ones, but they're not the right ones for you and for your dreams and your hopes and your goals. And sometimes you have to separate out what you really want and know to be true from the opinion of others. You need to figure out your opinion. You need to figure out your path. This judgment thing, it comes with the side of the Ace of Swords. And the Ace of Swords is in reverse. So it's being blocked. You're in your head, right? A new idea, a new, not even like a creative idea, but this is all about how you perceive yourself. This is about logic. This is a new truth that you are ignoring, that is becoming more and more apparent, and you're living in denial. You don't want to see it. You don't want to hear it. You don't want to think about it, because it's a lot of work. Because of the judgment of the choice that you know you will have to make, that you've been putting off, because it means that you need to walk away, right? You need to navigate and exit from the situation. And I don't know what's going on. But yeah, very clearly, I get the sense that like, it is time to walk away. And if this is, it could be, everybody probably is listening to this and thinking, well, this is a personal relationship. It could be a friendship. It could be a business partnership. It could be a manager or an agent or a publisher or an editor. It could be somebody that you've been working with that's a vendor, and the relationship has just soured. Or maybe you're working with a family member and you really need somebody who has more expertise than that family member can offer. There's a variety of ways in which this situation can manifest, but I think the important thing for you to know is that you need to get out of your own head. You need to get out of your own head, and you can't make decisions based on other people's judgment of you. And you have to take away the judgment that you have of yourself. I feel really strongly right now that you know what you want, but you're afraid to admit it because you're judging yourself really harshly. You're saying, well, I'm a failure if I take this path, or it means something about me. It means that I'm selfish. It means that I'm not a good enough wife or mother or woman. It means that I'm X, Y, and Z. Let that go. Right? You need to figure out this month how to navigate that judgment and how to not be so hard on yourself. Other messages from the Oracle. Let's see what else comes up. You are magic, right? So this goes with that letting go of the judgment. You are magic. You, not anyone else. You have magic within you. And the more you create, right? The act of creating, the act of bringing art into the world, of birthing something from nothing, that is magic. So embrace that, lean into that. When the relationships get messy, Ground yourself in this fact that you are magic, and practice fierce serenity. Serenity, gratitude, grace, peace, right? Try to live in that peace. Try to live in that serenity. Try to find moments where if you feel yourself judging yourself, you just say, nope, I'm going to pause. I'm going to do 5 minutes of meditation, and I'm going to allow myself to just be without shame, without judgment, without guilt, right? What else do we have? Okay, yeah, so we've got burned. These 3 cards came up all together. So we've got burned, and it says, how are your emotions inflamed right now? How have you been triggered? What difficult feelings do you need to work through? How are you struggling with judgment, criticism, negativity, and conflict, right? Judgment, right here, judgment. How are you handling that? You're feeling burned. I feel like this situation is making you hesitant to take on other projects or to do other things. You're thinking, what is the point? Right? I'm always going to be in this position. It's always going to end up this way. You can't trust anyone. I feel like you're really just feeling burned right now. So yeah, I definitely feel like you're feeling burned. Let's look at these other cards that came out here. These two I think are going to be a little connected. I haven't read the descriptions, but I think they are. You have mission log and you have compass, right? I think these are going to be connected. Mission log, your priorities, focus areas, to-do lists. What is relevant to your story right now? What must be done? What have you forgotten to do? And how can you organize your tasks better? And you also have compass. What points you in the right direction? What points you in the right direction when you are astray? What helps you stay on track and on course? How can you check if you're heading in the right direction, right? So I think the advice here in this situation is to go back to grounding yourself, earth. Hello, earth. Have a plan, right? You are really good at creating plans. You're really good at thinking about execution and how to handle a task that comes your way. So set that compass, right? Know where you want to go and why, and just focus on each little task. You don't have to solve everything. You don't have to have the big grandiose vision right now. Just focus on minute by minute, hour by hour, day by day, looking at your priorities, looking at your focus, checking things off of that list. You don't have to finish the whole list. I want to be very, very clear. You do not need to finish a list in a given day to be successful. Say, I'm going to cross off 2 things from this list. Practice grace, practice patience. I feel that very strongly in this situation that you're in this fierce serenity of like finding quiet and peace and living in that space. I feel like that's healing work that needs to happen in this situation, especially if you're walking away. You might find that energizes you, but you might not. And let me talk about that energizing for a second, because it may be that in making this choice, you feel free for the first time and you start to get a little bit reckless. You start to jump into new things. You just want to try all the things that you haven't been able to do because you've been carrying this weight on your shoulder for so long, and now you've let go. You've been tied to this person or this project or this idea for so long, and now you're free. You've been stuck in this dead-end job with this abusive boss, and now that's gone. And so you want to do all of the things. Again, set your compass. Know where you want to go. And it doesn't have to be a 10-year plan, but just have a vision. Do a vision board for yourself so you know what you want to manifest. You know where you want to go. And then create that daily list, that log of what you want to accomplish and what you need to do. What are the tasks? What are the steps? What are the things that you want to try or do in the coming weeks? That's going to help you a lot. Okay. We had a full moon. So let's talk about the moon oracle. You have, the end of a tough cycle approaches. So I don't know what you've gone through, friend. I don't. But I know it was hard and it was painful and it was scary. And collectively, we've gone through a ton of trauma this year, in the last year. Yeah. Right. Trauma around race and hate groups and bigotry, and trauma around the pandemic and illness and suffering. Many people have lost loved ones or have been sick themselves, had other people sick. People have lost jobs. People, like, so much. We're carrying so much. The end is coming. The end is coming, right? So stay focused and practice that self-care. And don't let pride get in your way. Don't let the pride, hello, that's what this is. Judgment often comes from pride, right? And it comes from your ego, right? So don't judge yourself and don't judge others and don't let them judge you. Don't live your life in fear of judgment of others. That's the ego speaking. So yeah, don't let pride get in the way of what you need to do, what you have to do. A couple of other messages from the universe. I choose love no matter what. If you have some fire in your chart, this also came up, I believe, for the fire group. I choose love no matter what. So that is a message that's double for you if you have fire in your chart, either Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. If you have a little bit of that in your birth chart, there you go. And then the key to prayer is to forget what I think I need. I want you guys to write this one down. I want you to write this down. Even if you're not religious, you don't have to think of this as prayer, but think about this as manifestation. Think about this as setting an intention. Thinking about this as for articulating, and asking the universe for blessings and abundance and resources. Because the key to this, what this is saying, is the key to this is to forget about what you think you need. Just say, bless me. Just say, bless me with what you, universe, think I need to move forward. Help me to see that. Help me to embrace all of the blessings that surround me. Practice gratitude. I just really feel like this could be a tough month for you that you're coming into. It can be very emotionally draining for you. It could be very scary for you. It could be very overwhelming for you, even if it's positive and exciting. And so I want you to practice that self-care and find moments to ground yourself and to live without shame or judgment. And don't apologize for the choices that you've made if it's to protect you and to help you get closer to your dreams and your passion and your purpose. That is your reading. I know it was long. I know it was heavy. I told you these decks are thick, but I hope it was helpful. And if that resonates with you, please let me know. I also do one-on-one reviews, or readings. So if you are in this group and you're feeling like, yeah, there's something heavy that I want to work through, feel free to book me for an individual reading as well. And we can dig into some of that and get more guidance around it, because I know this is a heavy topic. As always, like and subscribe so that you don't miss out on future readings. We have a lot of really great content coming up that I cannot wait to share with you over the summer. So we're gearing up for a new season on the Creatives Tarot, and I don't want you to miss out. So like and share with others so that they can join the Creatives Tarot family. All right, I'm taken away. We're going to move on to the very last group. Hey, air groups, Aquarius, Gemini, and Libra. I'm going to forget Libra. Aquarius, Gemini, and Libra, this is your reading. I'm really excited to get into this. Last but not least, man, these readings have been heavy. I'm going to warn you now, they're thick. There's a lot of cards. I'm going to put them up on screen so that you can see them right now. And these are the cards as they laid out. We're doing 3 themes with the tarot cards and then a bunch of oracle decks and messages to make sense of everything. So I'm really excited to dig in. Here's the spread with everything sort of flipped over. Don't worry, we're going to look at each one of these up close. So this is going to be a good 20 minutes or so of a reading. Really excited to give you that time and energy and attention. So grab your notebook, take some notes, get some tea, settled in, and let's go through your reading. Air signs. Okay, your first theme. First theme is assert. Assert. Look at that. It even looks like air in the night sky. Isn't that beautiful? Assert. To claim, to take space, to remain honest and confident. Okay, and what is coming up here? We have 2 cards in reverse, the 4 of Wands and the 5 of Cups, which tells me that you're not doing this. You're not asserting yourself in these 2 things. The first thing I think of is the 4 of Wands. So 4 of Wands is often celebration energy, weddings, graduations, anniversaries, birthdays, right? And I feel like there's something you want to do, or you're planning for these things to happen, and you're not asserting yourself, right? You're not articulating what you want. You're not taking space. You're afraid to offend others, right? You are not being honest and confident in what you want and articulating that vision, and claiming that space, right? Maybe you feel like you don't deserve it. Maybe there's more opinionated people in the mix. But in May, like, I feel like this energy is going to weigh you down if you don't deal with it head on, if you don't find a way to navigate that. You've also got this 5 of Cups, right? Which focuses on, I always think of it as focusing on spilled milk, but like focusing on the things that you don't have instead of focusing on the things that you do have. And this may be connected. It could very well be connected, right? You're obsessing over one thing and allowing everybody to, like, because you're obsessed and fixated on one thing with this, other people are making all the shots on a bunch of other stuff, and you're not realizing that you have an opportunity to have influence over something greater. But this also could be something totally different. It could be another elm. It could be a project. It could be you're dealing with rejection. In particular, if you're a writer, a creative, an artist, an actress or actor or singer, and you didn't get the audition, you didn't get the gig, you didn't get the job, you get some tough criticism, and you're kind of hung up over that last bad review, that last no, and you're not realizing all of the potential and all the opportunity that awaits you, that is sitting right there. So you need to figure out a way to assert yourself and speak with confidence, not just about the loss that you've had and that you've suffered, but also in acknowledging that you need other people to maybe look past that. This could be in reverse because people are trying to get you to obsess over the thing that you lost. And you're like, no, you need to assert them and say, look, I've already grieved it. I've already mourned it. I've moved on. And that's okay, right? That's actually a healthy way to exist. Let's look at the next card, which is victory. Here we go. So victory, what validates you, affirms you, and establishes you? What makes you a winner? And how do you become victorious? And how much of that is this, right? For you all, how much is that this? What makes you a winner? How do you become victorious? For you in the month of May, I see you have a lot of opportunities, right? This is the card of opportunity. It's the card of daydreams. It's a card of so many different choices, so many different possibilities, so many different paths that you can take. And you're looking down on all these options, and maybe you're feeling a little bit overwhelmed, and you need to simplify the process. You need to define what success looks like for you. And once you do that, you might be like, hey, 3 of these options don't make any sense. It may be what defines success for you is the amount of money you make that year, right? Some people may call that a narrow-minded focus or a selfish focus, but let's be honest with ourselves. Let's be real, assert what you want. And if that is, I want to be able to make 6 figures this year, or I want to be able to start my own business this year, or I want to be able to live a debt-free life this year. If that's your goal, if that is what's grounding you, then make the choices that are going to allow you to get there, right? Let that narrow the field of possibilities, but you need to know what victory looks like in order to make these choices. The other thing that came up is this Knight of Pentacles, which is all about working. And what I see here is you are in a position where you have skill, you have craft. You are not a novice by any chance. Like, you have so much experience, life experience, work experience, career experience. You have more knowledge and information and skill than you're giving yourself credit for. You may be a bit of a workaholic or a perfectionist, but that will get you far, right? So just make sure that's balanced and make sure that that is connected to this, whatever your victory is. And don't make your victory so broad that everything you do applies to it. Right? The idea is that you don't want this to consume you, and you don't want to be working, they say work smarter, not harder. You don't want to be working hard just for the sake of working hard. It should be connected to your victory, your vision, your goal. The last theme that came up for you all was behavior. So how you express your feelings through action or speech, or how you conduct yourself towards others, your actions and reactions, right? Behavior. What behaviors do you do? How do you act? How do you react? How do you engage with others? And let's see what cards came up. Oh, this is so interesting. Okay, so you've got the Page of Pentacles. And the Page of Pentacles is about grounded energy. It's about earth. It's about stepping into your foundation and your core essence of who you are and how you want to create a life of abundance. I think of it all as like, always think of pentacles as the material possessions that surround us. But when the page comes up, I think of this as not just excessive energy, right? Because the knight is above that. The knight is off doing their thing. They're like making money, planting seeds, working all the time, work, work, work. But the page comes before that. And the page is about learning. The page is about exploring possibilities. The page is about really getting clear on this victory, right? On what is the path that I need to choose? What is my mission? What is my purpose, right? And so as a behavior, I feel that you, especially with this workaholic tendency here, you need to set up behaviors this month that are going to ground you. Meditation, a daily writing practice, or journaling, reflection. Maybe it's just reading a book, a good self-help book or nonfiction book or spiritual book that is going to help you see bigger picture than just the daily grind, something that's inspirational to you. Set that routine. Is it taking a walk? Sometimes getting out in nature with this Page of Pentacles card is really helpful. Feeling the earth beneath your feet, sitting in the sunshine. That is going to be a helpful behavior for you. And then you have the Knight of Wands. And this is just telling me right here that you need to not be afraid to beat your own drum, right? To not follow the footsteps of every single other person around you, to carve your own space, to carve your own path, to do your own thing. That's what the Knight of Pentacles, or the Knight of, Wands represents. And I would say, because it came up in the behavior thing, I would look at what you're doing this month or what you're doing throughout May and say, am I being true to myself? Am I being true to my my hope, my passion, my purpose, right? Wands are all about fire and passion. What lights you up? What excites you? Are you taking action around those things? Forget about the obligations. Forget about the requirements. That Knight of Pentacles, this could be you obsessing over your everyday job, right? It could be you obsessing over something that has nothing to do with your creative outlet or passion or purpose. But these behaviors are about making space for that passion and purpose. Do not live in a life without it. And it's in reverse. So I feel like it's being blocked. I feel like you're pushing that off and going, if I can just get through May, if I can just do, 4 more weeks or 3 more weeks, then I'll be able to take a vacation, or then I'll be able to prioritize this. Don't fall into that trap. You need to ground yourself in these passions every single day, or at least a couple of times a week, and be deliberate about setting those actions and claiming that space for yourself and asserting yourself for what you need to get that balance. Oh, this is so beautiful. Wow. Okay, so you got advice from the Creator's Oracle here, and look at these. I'm just going to read through what they are. So you have the sacred flow of yes, which is what I'm talking about. Say yes to that passion and that purpose. You've got the what does your soul say? What does your soul say? Not what does your mind say and tell you that you have to do, right? Not what does the logical side of you say, because you're like, I need a roof over my head and I need rent and I've got a mortgage to pay and I've got kids to feed and, I really want to do X, Y, and Z before this date. And let that go. What does your soul say? What does your spirit say? Right? When do you feel most at peace or most at ease? And are you saying yes to those activities enough? Are you saying yes? Are you enjoying it? And, I said this earlier in a reading, but I'll say it again. Those no's are a redirect toward what is a yes, to what is the right path for us to be on. And when I find myself bumping into a bunch of obstacles, when I find myself getting really frustrated that things aren't working the way they're supposed to be working, often to me, that's a sign. That's a big sign, because yes, there's something magical about the yes that you are meant to be on, where everything just clicks together, one after another, and there is a flow to it. So pay attention to that flow and respect it. When it happens, don't just go, oh, this is so lucky that it happened. It was meant to happen. The universe wanted it to happen that way, and you were just open enough to allow it to flow. And then your past supports your future, right? Your past supports your future. So the blessings that you are receiving right now in May, like, you earned those. They were already written. You already manifested those in your past, right? Don't be ashamed of your past. Don't get caught up in your past. It was there for a reason, right? It was there to give you perspective, experience, knowledge. Every single thing that you do creates who you become, right? So don't get obsessed with trying to change the past. Be grateful, look for the opportunity in the past, and know that that is building the foundation, the building blocks for your future. Even the past before you, even the ancestors who walked this earth before you, right? Because if one thing went different in their lives, you may not be here. That's crazy to think about, but it's so true. And think about all they sacrificed and all the heartache. For me, knowing that my family, my ancestors, many of them, not all, but many of them were slaves, right? And so I think about the experience they had. Many of them lived through Jim Crow. I think about the experience they had, right? Their past, they're part of me. Their blood flows through me. And that past supports my future. So when I feel frustrated, when I feel alone, when I feel like I don't have the strength to face the obstacles that are in front of me, or the journey that's in front of me, I ground myself in that knowledge of what my ancestors went through, what I've already survived, right? Keep that in mind. That's such a beautiful message. And then a couple of other things. Okay, yeah, so burned. This came up in the last reading in the earth signs. So it's coming up again. So if you have earth in your chart, this is a double message for you. So pay attention. But yeah, how are your emotions inflamed right now? How have you been triggered? What difficult feelings do you need to work through? How are you struggling with judgment, criticism, negativity, and conflict, right? Feeling burned, right? So there is going to be a moment here for you guys, though. I feel like this is going to come and go. It's going to be a blip in the road. And now that you know it's coming, you're going to be ready for it. You're going to be prepared. It's not going to throw you too off course. But yeah, I feel like there's going to be something and you're going to be like, ooh, that was the wrong thing. And you're just going to course correct. You're just going to pivot. When you're following your passion, when you're doing this wand stuff, that's all about fire. That's fire signs. That's, you're bound to get burned every once in a while. But a burned thing, it does not mean that it's a disaster, it's a catastrophe, and you have to abandon ship. And that's what I love about this. It's talking about like your emotions, but it's like, just check your ego, know what triggered you, and move on, right? Recognize, learn from it. It goes in here, it becomes part of your past, and it's just building you up for the next opportunity. And then here we go, we've got speed buff. So something else to keep in mind: how can you increase your productivity, efficiency, and pace? How can you accelerate progress and momentum? So whatever you're working on, whatever creative project you're working on right now, I feel like there is an urgency here, a productivity thing here, especially with this Knight of Pentacles energy, this speed buff. There's something about like moving forward with urgency around something that is exciting you, something that is fueling you, something that you're passionate about. Doing that. If you get a new idea, sit down, write it down, brainstorm it, think it out, outline it, right? If you have an idea for a new song, write it. Find some time and say, hey, the next 24 hours or over the course of this weekend, we're just going to do it. Don't overthink things. Just do it. Think about your systems, your workflow, your process. Is there something you can tweak to give you more efficiency? Is there someone you can lean on to take something off your plate so that you can have more time to be creative? Because that's your moneymaker, friend. That's your moneymaker. Okay, We had a full moon, so I drew some cards from the Moon Oracle. And what do we got? Yeah, okay. Nothing is set in stone. Nothing is yet set in stone. So there's still a lot of flexibility in your plans and the things that you're working out on. I feel like for some of you, there may be an opportunity. You may have had a second meeting, or somebody may have requested a sample of your material. You're networking, you're meeting people, you're sending something in. Nothing's set in stone, nothing's final, right? So I feel like there's some good momentum happening, especially with the speed buff card. And you want to be prepared so when that opportunity comes, you have all of the portfolios and the information and the resources and the skills that you need to take advantage of that opportunity. But right now, in the month of May, I feel like this is just about moving forward, right? You're not going to get, I don't know that you'll get any big news, but it just feels like, you know, nothing's permanent. You may have some really great conversations, which could be good news, but nothing's in writing yet. Yeah, that's what I feel about this. Nothing's in writing. It's not set in stone, which also means that you can course correct. You can adjust. If something feels like a wrong deal or suddenly the terms are changed, you can change course. You can say, you can assert yourself. You can assert yourself and move forward on a different project. And then you have work through your fears. I'm losing my voice because these have been so long. You have work through your fears. So yeah, new moon in Scorpio. I feel like that's a message for some of you, but not all of you. But I think about this, when I think about fears for most of you, I feel like this has to do with the burning thing. What's triggering you, right? And to me, it's like what allows you to get over this feeling of being burned is understanding what triggered you and working through that fear, right? Acknowledging it, understanding it, and leaning into it, pushing into it, even though it feels uncomfortable. It's not permanent. It's temporary. That's the beautiful thing about this. Nothing is permanent. It's all temporary. Nothing's set in stone. It's all temporary. So, you know, acknowledge it and release it. Don't run from it. Don't hide it. Don't try to bury it. What else came up? Messages from the universe that you need to hear this month. I choose love no matter what. I choose love no matter what. If you watched any of the other videos, any of the other groups, you know that this card keeps coming up. This is the third time. So 3 out of 4 times this card came up. So I will say for most of you, you need to focus on love. You need to choose love, choose compassion, move with love, believe that people have the best intentions, even if they don't. Forgive, like no matter what, don't let a cruel world or a harsh criticism or a failed opportunity turn you away and make you cold and make you not choose love. Whether that's self-love and loving yourself, or whether that's loving somebody else who's in your family, in your circle, supporting them. Don't let jealousy get in the way. Don't let any of this other garbage and this other BS distract you. Love is the answer there. And then the other message that you got is attack, pain, fear, judgment, and any form of separation are merely calls for help. Attack, pain, fear, judgment, and any form of separation are merely calls for help, right? So those people who may be judging you, the people who may have burned you, that's about them. It's not about you. They're calls for help. And you can greet them with love if you feel like it. If you feel like that's putting you in a toxic position and it's taking you back and it's, you know, making you codependent and all of that, don't do it, right? Set your boundaries and embrace those boundaries. I have a wonderful resource for boundaries. If you are interested, I will share it on my Instagram account. But there's a really great book on setting boundaries that I'm reading right now. So if that's your thing and you need to figure out how to set boundaries while still practicing love and compassion and empathy, I've got you. But yeah, those are calls for help. Remember, it's not your place to fix other people. They have to want to be fixed. They have to do that work themselves. You can help them if they've come to a place where they want help. But yeah, I just say, like, know that it's not on you. It's about them. It's not on you, and you can move forward. I'm not saying don't take accountability for your actions. Do that. But just know that if somebody's wronged you, most likely it's about them. If they're biased, prejudiced, sexist, whatever, a lot of times that's about them. It has nothing to do with you or your worth or your value. I want you to hear that. Okay, that is your message. I told you these would be long. I'm really grateful that I have these cards and this time with you on a regular basis to share these insights with you. I hope they help you navigate your time, navigate your month in a way that is meaningful and purposeful and full of light and love and hope. And know that when you're doing that deep shadow work, when you're going through those difficult moments in time, so are a lot of us, right? You're never alone. So yeah, and if you want a more detailed personalized reading, I do those. You can find that on my website, thecreativestarot.com, and sign up for a newsletter or purchase a package there. All right, I'm gonna go because my throat is so sore. I'm gonna get these out to you all. And yeah, I'm really, really excited to see how you're feeling about these readings. If it resonated with you, definitely drop a comment below. Be sure to like and subscribe so that you don't miss out on future videos. I have a ton of amazing things coming up in store for you this summer. I cannot wait to share them with you. I've been working on them in quiet, secretively in my little studio apartment. And so I'm super, super excited to get those out to the world, so that you can see them and learn from them and benefit from them. So definitely subscribe and make sure you're on my newsletter as well, which you can find at thecreativestarot.com. I'm going. Goodbye, y'all. Happy Tuesday.